Joyful blessings. This is Kaylin Castell. So excited to share with you about the magic and mystery of the November cross quarter. It's also known as the Celtic New Year, and we'll see more about that in a moment. The Celts called it Samhain, it's spelled Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain. It was connected to All Hallows Eve, also known as Halloween, the Day of the Dead, also known as Dia de los Muertos, All Souls Day, All Saints Day, many big celebrations happening around this cross-quarter time. However, most of them happen, like Halloween is on October 31st. The day All Saints Day, I think, is November 1st. All Souls Day is November 2nd. The Day of the Dead, November 2nd, around there. But because of the movement of the seasonal signs through the constellations, that and the time of when the cross quarter actually happens, we will find that most years the sun is going to reach the exact cross quarter point on November 7. So we're going to see this in a moment. Well, we'll see it now. Actually, we're going to see how the September equinox is when the sun reaches 0 degrees Libra. And then the November cross quarter is when the sun reaches 15 degrees Scorpio, the halfway point to the December solstice, which is when the sun is at 0 Capricorn. And then this is the February cross quarter at when the sun is at 15 Aquarius, and then the March equinox when the sun is at 0 Aries. So these are all marked by seasonal points. And the green line here is the path of the sun and the planets. So one of the things that's very remarkable about this time is that the December solstice is rising on the galactic cross. I've mentioned this in other videos where the plane of the galaxy and the plane of the solar system cross near galactic center, and that is where the sun happens to be rising at 0 Capricorn. And it does it, it's 1 degree every 72 years. So the December solstice sun on the galactic cross center point is from 1962 to 2034, but the entire window, the 72 years as it entered 1 degree and the 72 years as it exits 1 degree, is from 1926 to 2070. So we are living in a very remarkable time, because it'll be about 26,000 years before this comes back to this alignment. And this is true also for the November cross quarter that we're going to see here in a moment. So but just to get the sense of how the sun moves up and down the horizon. So we could imagine this blue line here is the horizon line, and that the sun at the equinoxes is rising in March equinox and September equinox, rising due east and due west on the horizon line. And then we just, from the November cross quarter point, the September equinox, then the sun is moving towards the December solstice, and the halfway point is when the sun reaches 15 degrees Scorpio. So from 0 Libra to 0 Capricorn, the halfway point is 15 Scorpio. And that usually happens, as I said, on November 7th. And we can see that this is based on how the Earth is going around the sun and the tilt of the Earth, and how it creates a difference in the length of days around different times of the year. And this is true also, everything that I have shared, whatever season we have in the northern hemisphere is the opposite season in the southern hemisphere. So the September equinox is the autumnal equinox in the northern hemisphere, and it's the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere. And when we have winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, it's summer in the southern hemisphere. So the November cross quarter for the Celts marked the beginning of winter. And that is, so we would say the cross quarter in the southern hemisphere marks the beginning of summer. And this was something that, this is something that's very significant, because if you think about the idea of midwinter and midsummer were when what they identified as the solstices. So they saw cross quarter points as starting a season in the Celtic culture. Now, what's really remarkable about this cross quarter is that when the sun reaches 15 degrees Scorpio, as we can see right here, is with a star called Zuben Eljanubi. And this star is currently located at 15 degrees Scorpio and 25 minutes, or 60 minutes in every degree. And so Zuben El-Shamali, the other side of the scales, this is the constellation of the scales, also known as Libra, but we're talking about the seasonal sign of Scorpio. So the way that we can identify the difference between the seasons and the constellations is to call the constellations by their alternate name. So hence we call this constellation the scales. And Zuben El-Shamali is currently located at 19 Scorpio 42. And the seasonal signs move 1 degree, as I've mentioned already, every 72 years, or about 0.833333 every year, degrees every year. So it's not quite a whole degree every year. And when I researched this, I went back and found that Zuben Eljanubi entered 15 to Scorpio around December 30th of 1993. So that means that for the 72 years prior to that, it was at 14 Scorpio, so very close to the cross quarter point. And then for this next 72 years, Zuben Eljanubi is at the 15 degree mark. It will enter the 16 degree mark around March 17th of 2065, just a few months shy of being exactly 72 years. So this is very remarkable. And we can see that this star is exactly on the horizon. And of course, I mean, on the ecliptic, and we can imagine. So when the sun is rising, that it's rising with that star, and the star won't be visible, but we can tune into the sun to connect into the energy of the star. So this means that Zuben Eljanubi is currently marking the between, because the cross quarter points are the between points, between the equinoxes and solstices. So in that between places where the greatest alchemy and magic can happen. So when we consider this star, Zuben Eljanubi, at the cross quarter, it's at the midpoint swing between seasons from the September equinox to the December solstice. And that doesn't matter. It's September equinox, December solstice, doesn't matter if you're northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere, that it's at that halfway point. So from the Earth's perspective, we could imagine that this star is undergoing a major evolution as we evolve our understanding and experience of Zuben Eljanubi and the companion star Zuben El-Shamali, marking the pans that do the weighing of the scales. And in Egyptian mythology, the scales represent the weighing of the heart of the dead with the feather of Ma'at, who stands for justice and truth and all the higher vibrational energies. And so if the heart is heavier than the feather, then the person will come back and reincarnate. If the heart is lighter, then the person has the choice to go on to the next level of experience in the duat or heaven or some other realm or dimension. Not exactly sure what that would be for all people, but anyway, we have that sense. So the weighing of the scales, and if we think about the heart, they weigh the heart with the feather, and the feather in a way represents the mind or intellect or knowledge and wisdom. And so is the heart as wise as the energy that Ma'at represents with her feather? Now, in the book Starlight Elixirs and Cosmic Vibrational Healing by Michael Smolkas and Fred Rubenfeld, they suggest that Zuben Eljanubi assists us in finding peace by balancing the scales, by balancing the forces of aggression and control. And if we could, with love and joy and beauty and compassion, and I would imagine all of the higher vibrational energies that we can tune into. So Zuben Eljanubi helps us find inner harmony and independence, while also strengthening our relationship with our spirit guides when we attune to this star. So Zuben Eljanubi supports experiences of deep self-acceptance through self-nurturing and self-love, while bringing forth new concepts and ideas for relating. So if we think about this, at the cross quarter, even though we can't see the star, we can see it at other times of the year, and it's a great star to tune into. But at the cross quarter, we can know that the sun, the source of life and light from our planet, is accessing the energies of this star in a powerful way. And so as we watch the sun rise and set at this cross quarter time, we can also tune into this energy of this cross quarter that's being highlighted by this star, Zuben Eljanubi. So, and we're in a time that this will continue until at least 2065. And really, we could put 1 degree on either side of that. So it would be much longer, at least 144 years, that this star is marking the cross quarter. So Samhain translates as summer's end and celebrates the solar feminine and her power to live through death and be reborn to new life. And it's also about honoring the ancestors, honoring those who have passed, honoring the dead in whatever way that feels most alive and present for us to do that. And we can also say, because the Celts felt that this was their New Year's point, so they saw this between time as a visionary time, as a time to tune into intentions and dreams and possibilities and set their intentions for the coming solar year, marked by the sun at each time it returns back to the Samhain point, or the cross quarter point. So our modern day Halloween celebrations originate from this Celtic holiday, and it has now been fixated on October 31st. So it doesn't necessarily align with the exact cross quarter, but it's close. We could also say that and know that the Celts worked with the cross quarter, and they also worked with the moon phases. So the new moon or full moon closest to the cross quarter would have been very important to them as well. So this seasonal point also marked a time to honor the crones. Crone meaning crown, and the crown of wisdom. So as the wise ones whose wisdom was valued and respected. So Christina Aben writes, it is in the crone who opens the western gate for those who have departed to travel into Summerland. She rules areas of death and regeneration, occult sciences, healing, and the wisdom of the ages. We use the crone to assist us in transition from one life to the next, leaving one level of existence and entering the next. This brings us into the womb of the mother to assist us in being reborn once again. It is through her wisdom and guidance we learn lessons from experiences past and begin life anew from the wisdom gained. This is a brilliant summary of how to look at this cross-quarter time and what we might want to do in terms of how we're creating intentions and dreaming into new possibilities as we die to the old and prepare to be reborn to the new. So Samhain colors: orange, black, brown, gold, scarlet. The symbols are cauldrons, candles, ravens, cats. There's other symbols too, but these are just a few of them. Plants, trees, and herbs. There's a marigold, cypress, corn, apples, cinnamon, rosemary, sage, ferns, pumpkins, heather, hazel. There's more, but this gets you started. Stones are obsidian, onyx, carnelian, amethyst, and smoky quartz. So these are all things that you could gather together to place on an altar, create an altar, altars altar awareness. And also, or you could just create an ancestor's altar, an altar that honors your ancestors, your family line, your specific DNA. But you can also use these herbs. You can use candles that are maybe infused with some of these herbs and energies, and create a meditative, ceremonial intention at this cross quarter when we're in the between, where the greatest magic can happen. So you don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to exactly know what your intentions are. Maybe your intentions are more broad and general, like to be coming from a greater place of love from the inside out, a greater place of peace from the inside out, a greater place of higher vibrational energy that is fulfilling, magical, and fun. So these are the intentions that we can activate at this cross-quarter time to tune into when we're in the between, when we're with the star Zuben Eljanubi, and craft an intention that really supports what it is that we want to experience as we go forward into the Celtic New Year. So this is the intentions that we can speak into now. And if you want additional information, there will be links in the show notes for additional articles that you can read up on the cross quarter and Zuben Eljanubi. And if you like this content, if it's something that you value and feels good to you, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell to get announcements when new videos are posted. And happy Samhain to everyone.